We're on page 154, and in the All Hebrew one, we're in the middle of Siman Ayin Beis. So first we were talking about the different stages of the world, Olam Haza, Olam Haba, and that the purpose of the world is that everyone should come to recognize Yichud Hashem, the oneness of Hashem, and that's what's going to lead to the ultimate redemption. And then after that we started talking about the body and the soul. We started talking about the human being, the composition of a human being. Right, we have malachim, angels, which are just a spiritual component, and then we have animals, which are mostly just a physical component. They have some level of soul, but they don't have a neshama. They have a lower level of soul, but they don't have the higher level of soul, neshama, that cleaves the Shem. But every human being is a composition of the body and the soul, and that's why we say in Asher Yatzer, Mafli Lasais, it's a pella, it's a wonderment to human being. My Rosh Yeshiva always said, if the non-Jews would know what the beauty of Asher Yatzer and how we're praising Hashem for making us this epitome of this beautiful high level of creation that is the only being that has a composite of a body and a soul, and the soul has to sanctify the body, they would be running to say it. The non-Jews would be running to say Asher Yatzer if they knew what it means, and we just say it very quickly after we go out of the bathroom. I'll tell you, the biggest chizuk I ever got was at the New Jersey rest stop, and Rosh Yeshiva with his frock and his hat in the middle of the rest stop while everyone's running around, saying Asher Yatzer like he's in the middle of Ne'ilah and Yom Kippur with that much kavanah, like looking at his face. And me, I'm just like embarrassed to say it as I trying to like run to the car. But it's very inspiring. Okay, so we said that the purpose of the neshama, the soul, which I didn't realize before I learned Daas Tevunos, is actually to be mekadosh the body, is to sanctify the body. And we said that's going to happen in L'asad Lavo, after Tchias HaMesim. The soul comes back into the body, the soul is going to sanctify the body until the body becomes almost like a spiritual being. And the entire world is going to be remade in a spiritual component, and that's Olam Haba. That's where we get our ultimate reward. So it's the world that we're in now is going to be transformed, and we said many times that the Ramchal and the Mekubalim, they learned that Olam Haba, the next world, is not some separate place that exists now, but it's our world that's going to be retransformed. And according to the Ramchal, he says that it's only fair that when a person puts in the effort to serve Hashem that he gets rewarded. And since in this world, not only did our soul serve Hashem, but our body served Hashem, so our body has to be part of the reward. So that's why in Tchias HaMesim, our body's going to come back, and our body gets part of the reward. Right? The ultimate reward is not now in the Olam HaNeshamas, when after a person dies, where his soul only gets reward, because his body's still here. But the soul goes back into the body, and that sanctifies the body, and the soul get reward. Okay, so for Amnam, Mashet Tzarech Lahavanata, what we have to understand now, Hushir Keicha Shel HaNeshama, is the power of the soul. Shenitin la'amud b'toch haguf hazeh, that it's put into this body. B'zeh, kim hayakaycha rav va'ir gadol me'od. If the soul's power was very great and very illuminated in the body, v'adei haisen haisenes he'ara gadol kol kach haguf, the soul would give so much light to the body, shahay mis'al b'mitziyuso, that it would go up in its essence. V'chasor naisav hayu nishlam in rega echad, the imperfections in the body would be perfected in one moment. So when Hashem put the soul into the body, the soul would be allowed to just operate according to its full strength. The body would be rectified in an instant. There would be no deficiencies in a human being. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination that wants us to do evil, that is the main deficiency and lack in a person, is the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination that tries to get us to do evil. Hashem wants there to be a Yetzer Hara, an evil inclination. We have that voice inside of us telling us to do evil. Right? We discussed on Thursday that there were, Yisrael Salanter says there's two parts of the Yetzer Hara. There's the Yetzer Hara that's just naturally in a human being because we're physical and we have to eat and we have to do other physical things. And then there's a spirit of impurity, that a real spiritual force that exists inside of us that came after the sin of Adam and Eve, that tries to get us to do evil. So Hashem wanted those forces within us so that we have free will. So we want to do evil, and we have to choose not to do evil. Now, if the soul would be allowed to operate with its full potential when it was put in the body, then there would be no Yetzer Hara. It would be impossible for the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, to exist, because the soul would be so powerful, and that the soul is the part of the neshama, is a part of the soul which wants to cleave to Hashem to become spiritual. So if it was put with its full power, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, would have no power whatsoever. The same way that the angels have no Yetzer Hara. They have no evil inclination because of the great spiritual light that's on them and their perfection, and their knowledge and their chashiva. So angels, they don't. It seems like from here they don't sin, and they don't have a yetzer hara because of their closeness to Hashem. Do you guys ever see that? There's, I think, when an angel gets put in a body, they say that then they could sin. Because they say you see malachim made mistakes and things. Someone I think makes a chiluk when they like mislabish in a body, then maybe they could do sins, something like that. I think there's discussions. They talk about if malachim can sin or not. But it seems like from here that the malachim are on a complete. They're so close to Hashem they can't sin. It's just impossible for them. So we would have been like the angels if the neshama would have had its full power. So it's very empowering that we think that we have this neshama. That he'll explain more that Hashem made the neshama kind of limit its power in Olam Hazeh. Teidi lecha, you should know. In the world to come, it says, Lo yirav v'lo yashchisu, it will do no evil and there will be no destruction, b'chol har kachi, in all of my holy mountain, ki mal har's there, because the world will be full of knowledge. Also, as man nemar, on that time it says, V'hasiraisi es leva evan, I will take out your heart of stone, v'ibsarchem, from your flesh. L'goydo malas haneshama, that's talking about, so what's going to be la'asud lavo, meaning olam havu, that we keep talking about, at least, I think those psukim are after Mashiach comes, that after Mashiach comes, there's not going to be evil really anymore. And that sounds like when the neshama is going to have its full power. Because what causes there to be no evil? What causes people to do good? The greatness of the neshama. L'godol malas neshama. Shetigdal bizmanahu. That will be great. Will grow and be great at that time. From the other perspective, now, so he's saying, also before that, actually, I spoke to Rabbi Naaman about this. What's the difference between a person having Bechira after Mashiach comes and then Olam Haba, right? Because first Mashiach comes, then the world is still operating as it is now, and then it's Tchias HaMesim, the resurrection of the dead, and then after that, the world becomes transformed into Olam Haba, spiritual reality. So he said that after Mashiach comes, and it's Malaharet's day, and the world is full of knowledge of Hashem, it's intellectually going to be impossible to sin. However, we're going to still have bad habits, like someone who quits smoking, he was comparing it to. Someone who wants to quit smoking, intellectually he knows it's really bad, but he's just like, because of the force of his habit, from doing it for so long, it's very difficult to quit. So that's why he said Mashiach's going to come. Everyone's going to know, and it's going to be a lot easier to do mitzvahs, but still, people are going to have the habit of waking up late for minyan, or whatever else they had, or eating too much, I don't know, or eating treif, whatever Yetzer hara the person had. But it sounds like, once, after Tchias HaMesim and the Olam Haba, then it's just, we're totally spiritual, and it sounds like all of that is gone. Which I thought was interesting. So I'm not sure if these psukim that he's bringing here, if they refer to Yemos HaMashiach, the days of Mashiach, then it could be like maybe a person still could technically sin, because it sounds like because he's talking about when the soul is so powerful that a person can't sin anymore. But then he's bringing these verses which may refer to Mashiach, when it sounded like Rabbi Naaman was saying a person could technically sin, but it's just very difficult to do. So I wonder how that works out. Okay, so now the Ramchal's brought by a question: if putting in the soul to the body, and the soul is so powerful, it would just totally overcome the body, and a person wouldn't even have an evil inclination, Yetzer hara, to sin. So why does Hashem make the soul so powerful? Why does He make it so great? What's the purpose in the first place? So he writes, "V'amnam mitzad acher hine im ha'isa neshama mitziyu so ha'atzmi shvalav lo gedola." If the soul was not so great and was just on a lowly level, lo ha'isi chol olamud kol kach ikar ugdula asher ya'as lo lasud lavo le'yoz yosem malach yasharis. If the soul was on a lower level, right? So just ask, if the soul is going to be so powerful it would overcome the body, why does Hashem have to make a powerful, holy soul and then make it contract into a body? Just make a lower soul, not such a powerful soul. So he says that wouldn't work, because la'asud lavo, in the world to come, when we get our reward, the soul has to affect the body to make us, it says that we're going to be greater than the angels, la'asud lavo, in the world to come. So for the soul to be able to do that, it has to have that high and great level. So I think, just saying before, it's very empowering that we have such a holy soul within us. It's just, it can't operate its full force now, because then we wouldn't have free will. All right, go a little further. The soul comes from a very, very holy source, and it's very great. In order that should come into our body, Hashem decreased its light and its strength. And He made it only what's the level, what's befitting to be in a body in this world. It's like, and now it's like the moon. Shneimar lo, it says l'chiyu ma'ati asatzmich, go make yourself smaller. La'asad lavu, it says about the moon, v'ha'or ha'levanika or ha'chama, that however we interpret this, that in the world to come, the moon is going to be as bright as the sun. So that's what he's saying about the soul. The soul in this world has to be mamayit itself. It has to contract. Whereas in the world to come, the soul will have at its full force. You want to do one more paragraph? Is that okay? One more paragraph. V'hine, b'yada taiva, l'his alos me'iloi le'iloi ad takva ha'elyon. So the soul can go up and up, higher and higher levels until it gets to its full potential. Lefi shleimus maseh, according to a person's deeds. V'hine lefit meid hakoach asher nitin la ba'olam hazeh hi omed sogeres umusgeres b'toch haguf ha'achor hazeh kol yimei tzva. In this world, the soul, like we said, is totally trapped in this cloudy, coarse body, as he translates it. To be tested by the evil inclination. That's why it was placed in man. Like it says, Hashem only created the Yetzer Hara. Why did God create this evil inclination? Just to mess with us? No, because He wants to test us so that we can earn our own reward and we can perfect ourselves. And when we perfect ourselves, we do it to ourselves, we become as similar to Hashem as possible, and that's the true enjoyment in the world, as the Ramchal said. To be when one is similar to Hashem as possible, he becomes close to Hashem, and that's the true enjoyment. So that's why he gives us the Yetzer Hara. According to our deeds, then we merit based on those deeds which we did to be elevated. To go up from level to level. In the world to come, our soul is going to be able to express that level that it earned in Olam Hazeh in this world. And based on the deeds that a soul does in this world, when it comes back after the resurrection of the dead, the soul, based on its deeds, will elevate the body and be at a level in closeness to Hashem based on the deeds that it earned in Olam Hazeh. So we shouldn't think that everyone's soul is going to be at the same level. It has to do with depending on its deeds. But he's going to continue, I guess we'll do next week, about how the neshama in this world, even if a person does so many great deeds, it's still constricted in this world. So he says it still impacts a person in this world, but it's going to be constricted and it can't express its fullness and its holiness. He says except for some very rare cases. But Moshe Rabbeinu, he's going to say Chanoch and Eliyahu, who went up to Olam Haba in a body. It says that his soul was so powerful that it, I guess, broke the bounds of being constricted in Olam Hazeh, in this world.